Alright, day 3, 6th grade science test prep. You will have 60 seconds to read and answer each question, followed by a short tutorial. Get your pencils ready. You have 60 seconds. Begin. Salt concentration, water temperature, plankton, and the whale shark might all be used in a description of an ocean. So let's see here. Climate refers to the conditions like temperature and weather around. Food web is basically organisms only. Ecosystem refers to everything, which would be the water, the temperature, everything. So water, temperature, organisms. Population usually refers to a set of organisms. So let's see, which one of these matches best? The idea that salt concentration of the water, the temperature of the water, plankton, and the whale shark seems to me like this describes the ecosystem. Letter C. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Where is most, keyword most, of Earth's water located? So the majority, the biggest source, however you want to interpret that, but most is where's most of it. You may have been to some big lakes. There is a lot of water. You've seen the Missouri River here. It carries a lot of water. Glaciers can be very large, hold a lot of water, but the largest source by a landslide are oceans. Choice C. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Why is watering plants and grass in the early morning a way to conserve water? Conserving water. Well, if you when you wake up in the morning, you go into school, or in the summertime, and you see people running their sprinklers early in the morning, there's a reason. The sun has just came out, but as the day gets hotter, the sun will actually evaporate more of the water. So if most of it's being evaporated into the atmosphere, then not as much is getting into the ground. So we want to do it in early morning or at sunset because it's actually cooler, so not as much water gets evaporated. The choice in this case is letter B. So if you didn't know that, there you go. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. The largest body in our solar system is, when they refer to body, they're saying anything that has mass. So that could be moons, planets, the sun, asteroids, comets. So if we think about this, and the picture kind of helps you visualize, the Earth is pretty big, and the moon is smaller than the Earth, so the moon's out. Jupiter's pretty big, but by far the largest body in the solar system is the sun, or choice B. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Which of these revolves around a planet? So one of these four things orbits planets. Um, well, you see it just about every day or every night, actually. Here's the Earth. Here's the moon. The moon is traveling in an orbit. That's a really poor orbit, but around the Earth. Our choice is D. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Why are most fossils found in sedimentary rocks? Give you a really super fast lesson on fossils. So if here's the ground and the organism, let's say our organism, I don't know what this is. Well, let's say it dies over time, and it's got some bones in it. Over time, sediment or dirt or rock, we'll call it sediment, settles on top of the organism. At some later date, we're going to be able to find these bones within that sedimentary rock. The reason then is that organisms can be preserved in sedimentary rock. It's not that sedimentary rocks can be very old. Organisms basically can live everywhere on Earth, so that's not a very good answer. Sedimentary rocks are only found at the surface. That is not really correct either. We find those all over the place. So the choice here is C. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Okay, we have a chart here that gives us Mohs scale of hardness. In other words, well, how you read it is A1 is the softest material, and it goes all the way up to 10, which is diamond, and that is the hardest material. So 10s can scratch everything else. 5 can scratch everything below it. So 4, 3, 2, and 1. A 4 could scratch 3 2s and 1s. So here's what the situation is. Student is testing an unknown mineral for hardness. The unknown mineral is tested against fluorite, up here is a 4, and we don't see a scratch on either one. So what can you conclude from this? Let's read the statements. The unknown mineral and apatite will not scratch each other. That's questionable. I don't think so. Unknown mineral and calcite. Well, that's similar. Where we're going with the answer here, the assumption is the unknown mineral must be a hardness of 4, meaning it could scratch 3s, 2s, and 1s, or be scratched by a 5. I'm going to write that down. It could be scratched by a 5, or it could scratch one of these 3. So the reason I can assume that it's probably a 4 is because the data we collected says, well, we couldn't scratch the fluorite and the fluorite couldn't scratch it, so we're going to give it a 4. So the unknown, let's read these statements again. The unknown mineral and apatite will not scratch each other. Well, we know it's a 4, so that's not true. So A's out. The unknown mineral and calcite will not scratch each other. That is not true because this unknown mineral will scratch calcite. So this is out. The unknown mineral will scratch apatite. Well, that's not true. It only scratched these 3 below it, so C's out. Hopefully the answer is D. Let's see. Unknown mineral will scratch calcite. That is true because it'll scratch everything below it. So our choice, and this was a tough one, letter D. Teachers, if you need a little additional explanation on that one, pause the video. That one was tricky. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. Which of the following questions is testable in a scientific investigation? We've got 4 scenarios here. Are dogs better pets than cats? Are dogs happy when they are walked? Are cats more active at night than during the day? Are cats easier to take care of than dogs? Those all sound very similar. What's the one that is different? The answer is, which one is, here's the key word, measurable. Which one of these 4 things could I measure and collect data and then come to a conclusion? So ask yourself this: are dogs better pets than cats? What data could we collect other than the opinions of the owners of these pets? So this one's questionable in my opinion. I don't think we can do an actual scientific investigation. Are dogs happy when they are walked? Well, they may seem happy, but can you collect data on that? Can you ask the dog, are you happy or not? They may bark and say they're feeling happy, but you don't know for sure. Are cats more active at night than during the day? This is something where if you sat and watched the cat, you could actually record how active they are. Are they moving around for how many minutes? You could actually collect some data. So I'm thinking this is probably our answer. But let's see what D says. Are cats easier to take care of than dogs? Again, that goes to, I've had dogs. I don't like cats so much, but that's my opinion. Some people would disagree with me. So I'm going to take D, B, and A out of the scenario, and I'm going to say that C is the only thing that I can actually collect data from. So that's our choice. Next question, 60 seconds. Begin. All right, the student will measure and record the growth of 2 flowering plants every other day for 10 days. According to the diagram, which is being tested? So let's look at the diagram here. We're going to add the same amount of water, 200 milliliters, to each pot every day. We're going to assume that they're receiving the same amount of sunlight, basically. They have the same pot. It's the same plant. Everything's the same except one thing. That one thing is this pot we are going to add some fertilizer. The hypothesis then would be adding fertilizer makes the plant grow taller or faster. Let's read the statements and see which one fits what this experiment appears to look like. And let's see. A. Do flowering plants grow better when watered with salt water? Well, that could be something we could test, but is this experiment, does it have anything to do with salt water? I don't see anything that has anything to do with salt water. B. So A's gone. B. How much fertilizer do flowering plants need? This one's close. It says fertilizer, but we're not changing the amount of fertilizer putting into each pot. So I'm going to not cross this one out, but I'm questioning that statement. Letter C. Does fertilizer added to the soil lead to taller flowering plants? That sounds really good because we're not changing the amount of fertilizer. We're just adding fertilizer to one of the pots and not adding it to the other pot. The expectation is something will happen to this plant. Whether it'll grow taller or not, we don't know. But C looks pretty good. Let's just read D. How tall do flowering plants grow? Well, we may be able to answer that, but that is not the what's happening here. So clearly the choice now is letter C, and it's related to this data here, the 10 milliliters of fertilizer.